This is Michelle Schaefer, SC with Ambit Energy. I'm your MC for this evening's Sunday night PURGE call with Richard Laidler. We strongly believe that this is the structure, the silver bullet for success in your Ambit business. Make sure you have your calendars open, your top 10 names for the week, your written list, and make sure you work right along with us. This is an interactive call. We want you to be prepared for your week. If you would like to be prompted for this call each Sunday, please enroll into our texting program by sending the word altogether, 3x4, THREEBYFOUR, to the phone number 94033. And you can also become a member, again, like I said, of our Facebook page called EC Writers as an executive consultant. And that is all I have. So I'm going to go ahead and, because I'm being so professional this evening, and introduce our host, Mr. Richard Laidler.
Hello there, how are you?
Fantastic.
You know what you need? You need a cup of tea. You see, a cup of tea makes everything all right.
Yeah, you know what? I certainly do.
I'll buy you a nice little tea set. One of those nice little bone china things, a little cup and saucer, and you take a slurp of your tea and everything's okay. And talking of that, I've got my cup of tea right here. For all of those of you who are listening in, when you get onto this call, it is just a little bit of England, just for about 55 minutes. So in England, we have a nice cup of tea in the evenings. And here it is. What a fantastic cup of tea. All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for getting on the call, and congratulations for getting on the call and taking your Ambit business seriously enough to make sure that you are preparing your business for the week. We had a fantastic training this Saturday. I'm sure many of you on the call were at the training. One of the best trainings I've been to. I was sitting at the back of the room taking notes on my phone as the trainers were doing their job. I was obviously up there doing my thing, making sure I didn't sugarcoat anything. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody, because I was pretty brutal in explaining what I think we need to do. As Michelle was saying, I truly believe that everything we do in our Ambit business revolves around structure. For all of the other silver bullets that we talk about, being in touch with your why and having a strong why, being a good inviter into the business, giving great presentations and all this type of thing, all of those things you'll learn to do, but you really don't have to be great at them. You'll learn to be great at them as you get better in the business, but you literally can, ask someone just to, hey, take a look at this DVD. I'd love to know what you think. You can even invite as poorly as that. There are people out there that are begging for an opportunity as good as the Ambit opportunity, but you need to be saying, hey, take a look at this DVD. You need to be doing that. And that's what we talk about when we're talking about the structure. Is so often people start their Ambit business or at their Ambit week with I really should do something with my Ambit this week. If you started your job that way by saying, I really should think about going into work this week, it's not going to work. You're going to get fired because you're not going to turn up. And if everybody in the company thought like that, none of them would turn up and the company would fail. I kind of discussed this at the training on Saturday. It's really kind of obvious. I have a lot of people coming up to me and thanking me for the training and this type of thing like it's something new. It really kind of isn't. All I'm doing is just kind of reminding you why you're successful in your job, why you managed to graduate in high school. There were a few valedictorians, a few real rock stars that were, front of the class, that were the ones that were frustrating me because I could never be as good as them. But most of us were pretty average, and we basically, graduated from high school because we just turned up. And, we were told to be there at 9 o'clock and, we were going to do math and then English at 10. And then, we had our lunch break and, maybe a little bit of sports and something like that. And, it was all about periodic tables and physics formulas and all this sort of stuff. And school got harder and harder and harder. And yet every one of us graduated. And it was really, again, just because we turned up. And so if I hear about people failing in Ambit, they'll come up with all sorts of reasons as to why it was. Well, it just wasn't for me, or I didn't have the time, or, whatever it is. But bottom line is, this business is as simple a thing as you'll ever do. The only reason why you won't have success in it is because you didn't turn up. And that's what this call is about. It's about helping you or reminding you that you just need to turn up for work in your Ambit business. This is kind of the key thing for me, you need to treat your Ambit business, even though you don't have a boss, even though you don't have to do anything, you must treat your Ambit business with the same respect as you treat your job. If you didn't turn up to work, you'd get fired, or you certainly wouldn't get paid. If you didn't turn up to school, you wouldn't have the success you had, and you'd be sent off to see the principal, and it just wouldn't work. So that's what we're doing on this call. Is basically the purpose of this call is I'm not going to sit here and try and hype anything. I'm not going to motivate. I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm not going to give you any platitudes. I'm just basically going to tell you this is what you need to do in the 30 to 60 minutes a day that you need to put into your Ambit business. And everybody on this call, if you're serious about your business, you do need to be putting some time into your business. It's kind of a little bit of a duh, it's not, you didn't buy a lottery ticket for $75 and hopefully the money's going to come in. No, you got to do some work. It's a part-time job. Yeah, you've got a job until you're financially free. It's just you happen to be the boss of that job. So that's what this call is all about, is to first of all, to remind you and show you how to create structure in your week, but also I'm going to be working with what I call my victim. We just for a little bit of amusement, we call him our victim, but it's just basically a consultant who's out there working in the business right now, either in my team or not in my team, and I'm basically going to work with that person for a week, and they're going to be on the call tonight. We're going to go through what we do on our Purge week, everything from pulling the 10 names from your written list that you have scored using the Erica system. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I did a team call the other day, probably a week and a half ago, where I explained how to do a written list and score it using your Erica system. I had someone ask me to send him a recording, and what I'll post it actually up on the Facebook page, the EC Riders Facebook page, so you can have a listen to that if you're not sure how to create your written list, because we need a written list of 100 to 200 names. That sounds a lot, but if you use the memory jogger that's in the Ambit You site in your back office, you'll get to 30 names, 50 names, 100 names, and especially if you're working with an accountability partner. And then once you've done that, put it into an Excel spreadsheet or get some help from someone if you're not sure how to do that, and use the Erica system to score it, and it sorts it so that all of the best names go to the top. So the cream goes to the top of the milk, and it's the same thing with this, is it brings the best people to the top. Everyone's going to get a call. It just puts them in an order where you're recruiting the best people first. And we're going to be doing that with our volunteer / victim today. I know he's already got his written list done. I know he's already scored his top 10 names. And we're going to prepare some invitations on the call tonight. So I want you to listen in. I want you to have your pencil in hand so that if I don't know who they are, we basically my guest tonight is going to throw them at me. Nothing's prepared. And if there's a broke brother-in-law or an attorney or a business associate or whatever it is, if you have someone on your list that's the same, then copy the invite. And that's the reason why we're doing it, is to help you put an invitation together. So we'll have 10 names, 10 invites. And then we're just basically going to plan the week, Monday through Friday, to do 2 invites a day, 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. And then each day, at the end of the day, with my guests, we've already prearranged a time. We're going to do somewhere between 5 and 5:30 in the evenings after he's done his couple of invites. We're going to do an accountability call where he'll give me a call, let me know how those 2 invites went, and I will advise, congratulate, correct if there's ever a situation where something's wrong, and we'll work through that week. And the great thing is also all of those accountability calls are recorded. And it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of people on this call. We're pushing towards 3 figures on this call, and thank you very much for supporting us on this. My goal, by the way, just so you know, just an inside goal, my goal is to get this call as big as Brian McClure's call, okay? So spread the word, help me out. I'd love to be chasing his tail. I think this is a great call. I love Brian. It's nothing personal, but it's just kind of a little personal goal for me. And that's what we're going to do. So a lot of people on this call, we have lots on this call. It's also recorded, and I will post it on the Facebook page, but also all of the accountability calls, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, are recorded in such a format that you can listen to it on any device. It takes me a little time to do. But you can then listen to the accountability calls. And there's actually more coaching and more help on those calls than there are on the Sunday calls, because it's real. You know, my victim consultant, guest, whatever you want to call them, will have had a day where someone told him to get lost, or he didn't manage to get his calls done that day, God forbid. And I want the good and the bad, because we're all going to have the good and the bad. And I want to coach my consultant on the line to help them deal with that, you know, to deal with the mistake, or to deal with procrastination, or to deal with the success. So, and you guys listening in, so that when you have the same things, good, bad, ugly, whatever, you have some kind of idea of how to deal with it. So that's kind of the purpose of this call. And it's very much based around structure. Top 10 list from your written list, top 10 names from your written list, creating the invites for those on Sunday. You do it every Sunday. We do it on this call, but you need to do it yourself, either on this call with us or in your own time on Sunday. And then open your calendar and say, I'm going to make one of my calls at 10 because I get a tea break or a coffee break here in the U.S., but of course in England we have a nice cup of tea break. Then of course your lunchtime, you can make a call then, and then the accountability call in the evening. But put it in your calendar. Actually, access the calendar and slot it into your day. Because if you don't do that, those things that are accountable to you, your job, your family, the gym, the PTA, whatever it is, that is already in your calendar, and that will push everything else out if you don't put something in there and allocate the time. Remember, we're talking about 30 to 60 minutes a day for 5 days a week. Now, you can also do Saturday and Sunday. Anything more that you do is awesome. But 30 to 60 minutes a day of doing a couple of invites and an accountability call to build something that will set you financially free. Set you financially free. This isn't just something, I really should get this done there. No. This is a plan B right now that's going to earn as much as your job at some point, and then it's going to double what your job makes, triple what your job makes. So is it worth it? Yeah, hell, it's worth it. Okay, so please do work alongside what we're doing. Do have this structure. As I say, it trumps all other silver bullets. It trumps any why. I know plenty of people with fantastic whys, really strong whys, that quit. I know people with kind of mediocre whys that have got yellow jackets. So, again, I'm not knocking having a strong why. I think it's fantastic. But that's not going to make you successful or not. Being a great inviter, not going to do it. It's great if you can, but you can be an average inviter. There are plenty of people, again, with yellow jackets who do not necessarily have the gift of the gab. But what they all do have consistently across the board is they're consistently working day by day. They have a structure in their week. They do not let the other things that they're accountable to push the Ambit business aside. So that's what this call is all about. Now, that being said, I want to dive straight on in. And I want to get straight into working with my victim tonight. This gentleman has become a great friend of mine over the years now that we've worked together. He's a couple of years older than me, so even though I'm going to be mean to him on this call, I'm going to beat him up on the call. I am going to be totally respectful. So he's already coughing and spluttering right now. I'm going to be totally respectful because he is my senior and I've been brought up to respect my elders. So, as I say, we've become great friends. He's a regional consultant in the business. He's at every business presentation. He's at every training. So he's already pretty good at putting a system into his week. To make sure that he gets the work done. He's very structured already, so this is going to be probably pretty easy for him for a week. But I'm very happy to bring on my very, very good friend, regional consultant Dana Heter. Are you there, Dana?
I am here, Richard. One moment.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully I didn't scare you too much.
I had to have a slurp of tea.
I could hear you in the background. I was talking, hold on, what's that noise over there? Now, how was it a great cup of tea?
It's perfect cup of tea.
See, nothing like a nice cup of tea. In fact, that's what we should do is every victim who comes on, we should make him a cup of tea and we can have a nice cup of tea. A little bit of England just for a little bit.
Twinings?
Right, well, what's that, sorry?
Twinings?
No. No, you want to Twinings. That's not really the right thing. The ideal is actually something called PG Tips. The letters PG and then TIPS. You can get it in Kroger's and stuff. It's black tea. It's not in a tall glass with ice. It's in, it's with milk and a little bit of sugar if you like some sugar and stuff. But maybe I should, on one of my calls, teach people how to make a nice cup of tea.
Please.
It would be kind of fun. It would be kind of fun. All right, so let's get real. Let's kind of dive straight on here, Dana. And there's a lot of people there sitting there with quivering pens in hand to set the structure up for the week. So let's start with you now. There's a lot of people. We've got people from all around the country today. So welcome to everybody. It's for some of you it's 7:15, for some of you it's 8:15, and for some of you it's 9:15. So I appreciate you putting the time aside for doing this. But I kind of want to dive straight on in and get going. So, but first of all, I want to kind of have people know who you are, because obviously we're going to be with you for a week. We're going to get to know and love you dearly. And so why don't you just tell people a little bit, just take a minute or so to tell a little bit of people a little bit about yourself, what you do for a living, maybe the age group that you're in, and nothing about Ambit for just now, just a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Richard. I am 63 years old and happily unmarried. I live in Richardson. I own my own consulting business. I've been in my industry for 42 years and have had my own firm for 28 years. I work with nonprofit organizations, and the bottom line, what I do, I help them to maximize donor loyalty and value. Donor meaning contributors to their organizations. I love what I do because what I do so agrees with my personal why. And my personal why is very simple, almost embarrassingly simple, to help people.
Do you mind if I narrow in your why a little bit? Because and do you mind if I ask you to be a little bit vulnerable? Sure. Because I know you are. I know you're humble and you're totally secure in this type of deal. But you talk about wanting to help people as your why, and I get that. And truly, I am very passionate. And when I hear about team members and other team members, reaching, just getting some bills paid or just getting to RC and this type of thing, that's awesome. But personally, as much as I like that, if I dig deeper, personally speaking, and I look at my why, what really drives me is I am absolutely petrified I'm not going to have enough money when I retire. I'm a couple of years younger than you, and I've made money and I've lost money, and I've lost money after having a lot. So I know nothing's for sure, and that is painfully upfront for me as to my why. And I want to dig deep and ask, is your why just to help people? I mean, or do you have a personal...
No. Okay. Oh, no, that's my personal why. My why related to Ambit Energy is very similar to yours, very similar, and it's to augment my retirement income. Matter of fact, it's just been ratcheted up in the last year because I have all of my retirement invested in a group in Waco, Texas. And last year that group filed for bankruptcy.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, gosh.
$2.4 billion. Not mine. That's not all mine by any means. By any means, there's 22,000 of us investors, $2.4 billion, and it's in federal court in Fort Worth. So my why, which started out to be augment my retirement, has really gone up way high on the scale to most likely to replace my retirement.
Now, isn't that great, though, that Ambit represents something like that for us? You know, very often if I've been involved or know of a network marketing company, most of the people I've known have not really made any money. And, you know, other than the people on the front of magazines who you never get to see, I know lots and lots and lots, hundreds of people that make anything from a few hundred to thousands of dollars with Ambit. And it truly represents a definite plan B. And for people our age, it truly is a godsend. But anyway, let's move on because I want to make sure we get a touchdown on meat and potatoes here. My first question to you, of course, as it is with everybody else, is do you have a written list?
I do.
Do you consider it to be complete? Do you consider to have a good, strong list?
Several hundred, and it is. I review it weekly, but it is thinned out. In other words, I have categories to it, and my not now, drip, not interested, can't locate them in terms of a number or something. Yeah. And it's thinning out. It's thinned out. And so I'm out aggressively augmenting. I really appreciate what Steve Thompson said last week about his 2-2-2 strategy, and that is getting 2 new people every day. So I'm trying to aggressively work on that to add 2 new people every day.
For those people who are listening on the call who feel that, you know, you're listening to Dana and he talks about having hundreds on your list, and you look at your list and it's 32 people, you do need to get your list up. And if you're not sure how to build it up, definitely go to as I said at the beginning of the call, Ambit U, which is Ambit University. Go to your memory jogger, and it really will help you find and maybe make you think of people you hadn't thought of. But even that, you then have to actually go and look yourself in the mirror and say, I am in the people business. I cannot be shy. And you need to become members of a gym or a club or mixers, you know, once a week. You've got to get out there and get an opportunity to meet people. Sorry, I apologize for the fact we're in the people business. You've got to meet people. So that's great. That's a good sized list there, Dana. So do you score, hopefully you score your list using the Erica system?
I do.
Great. And as I said at the beginning of this call, I'm going to post the team call that we did where I trained people on how to score using the Erica system. All right, so let's get straight to what we're talking about tonight. We've got obviously 10 people on your list, rows to the top. What are the 10, just the first names for those 10 people that we're going to talk about today?
All right, here we go. Ken, John, Lynn, Tom, Stephen, Carol, Victor, Tammy, Andrew, and Bree.
All right, let's start right away with Ken. Tell me about Ken.
Ken I've known since he was a wee lad. He was the son of one of my associates, and I've known Ken for 36 years. He's now vice president of a really good size printing firm in Mesquite that does specialty printing. And so that is Ken. I've known, like I said, him for that long, but I've really been out of touch with him for a while.
Okay, is he married?
Yes.
Kids?
Yes.
How old are the kids?
They're teenagers, early 20s.
How many has he got?
3, I believe.
Okay, do you know of any pain that he has? Obviously, if he's a successful VP of printing, he's making money, but do you know any situations where there's pain in his life?
I don't exactly, other than the fact he works a lot of hours.
Okay. All right. Okay, so obviously we're going to go through this and work out the perfect invite for him. Did you have any thoughts about how you'd like to approach him? I know you've been on this Purge call many times, and you know the kind of the 5 steps that we go through to create an invite. The first one being, be in a hurry, and be in a hurry when we go through it on these invites here, Dana. Do say, well, first of all, I'll be in a hurry, and then we talk about, you know, your why or their why, or maybe asking for an opinion or something like that, and then we have a hook, which we'll cover in a second. We have a big takeaway, it may or may not be your cup of tea, and then we're very intentional about setting a particular time, and with the one rule that overrules them all, as in almost Lord of the Rings, which is to be yourself. You know, make sure that you know, we don't want to be weird and stuff like that. Make sure you're always yourself. So, based upon that, and based upon your vast experience and you being on the Purge calls, do you have a feel about how you'd like to approach him?
I do. I actually have it written out.
Okay, well, let me hear it.
No, one of the things I've learned is when I do it, it works better than when I don't. I've been on these Purge calls for months now, and when I write it out, it always goes better. And when I don't, I've had my head handed to me. So I encourage everyone to do this. I find that, and it's even better to write it out, because it causes you to think rather than to, for me at least, than just to do bullets.
An old friend of mine used to say to me, if it's not written down, it's not thought about. And so that's exactly what you're talking. That's exactly what we're saying. I'd love to hear the invite. Go for it.
Here we go. Hello, Ken. This is Dana Heter. I'm glad I reached you. Do you have a quick minute? If he says yes, perfect. I'm about to start a meeting, so I'll be real brief. I'm continuing my work with Direct Strategies, 28 years now. Can you believe it? Recently, Ken, I launched another side project that's helping to augment my retirement income, and I would really like to have your eyes on what I'm doing. Given your load at Integra Color, it may be of interest to you, and then again, it may not, and that's fine. Do you have 10 minutes of uninterrupted time later today or tomorrow after 5 when we could go to my website and I could show you what I'm doing?
Okay, absolutely. I would give you your 1 through 4 was perfect. 5, I'm going to address that. Great, you were in a hurry, very professional, liked it very much. And in fact, before I go through this real quick, when Dana was talking about writing this down, we want to make sure that it doesn't sound like a script when you're, we're not saying write it down so you have a script to go to. It's merely so that you've written it down, thought about it, it's in your mind. You still want to say it, you know, like it's normal, like you just were, you know, talking normally. The reason why it's written down is to show you've thought about it, but also that it's a point of reference so you don't get distracted or you go off track or you forget to do the takeaway or you forget to be in a hurry, both of which are all, you know, signing a death warrant if you forget those two things. So that was first of all about the writing down. Now, secondly, your invite, it was perfect. Dana, you always sound super professional. Wonderful you were in a hurry. Great that you talked about your why. And you talked about something that's supplementing your income. I would have put a hook in there and said, and it's really working out very well for me. It's working out really great for me. It's really growing in the DFW area. So I would add, and that's the hook, is adding a little bit of sizzle. So add the hook in there. You did a great takeaway. It may or may not be your cup of tea, and you said, and that's perfectly fine. You could even re-emphasize it even more and say, you know, my friendship with you is more important than any kind of business. I really like a strong takeaway. But then here's where I felt you could up your posture. And we've talked about this a little bit over the years, Dana, is you talked about, do you have 10 minutes? And whilst that is polite, the posture is giving him the power to tell you no. And I want to turn that around. I don't want to give him the power. And I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about being a douchebag here. I'm talking about just being really intentional about. Sorry about my language there. Yeah, it's about having posture in your invite, because you can't show weakness anywhere. And so what I would do is, instead of saying, "Do you have 10 minutes?" I would say, "What are you doing after work on Friday? What are you doing?" You know, and I wouldn't go into detail. so I can take you to my website to show you a video. It doesn't matter about that. There's too much detail. All you want to do is get the time allotted. What you do in that time is you cross that bridge when you come to it. If you bring it into the invite, it adds complexity that doesn't need to be there. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect.
So first of all, I wouldn't say, do you have 10 minutes? I would say, what do you, I know you work super long hours. When do you finish work on Friday? Because I want to take you out for a coffee. I want to take you out for a bite to eat. Or on Saturday, because I know you're busy during the week, or after church on Sunday, whatever it is. Be real intense. Say, look, what are you doing at this particular time? Because I want to show you what I'm doing. Because first of all, I'd really appreciate your opinion. Secondly, because you're obviously super successful in what you're doing. But secondly, it may be something that'll help you get home, give you some more time back. Again, may or may not be your cup of tea. And, what was his name again? Ken, that's perfect.
Ken.
Fine, my friendship. Yeah, my friendship's more important than anything else. But what are you doing after this time, after 5 o'clock on Friday, so I can show you what I'm doing? No details
Excellent. About
websites and this stuff. Too much detail. And so 80%, and you got the first 4 right. The last 20% is dial up the posture. Not do you, would you, is it okay if? No. Lose all of those. Be more positive. What are you doing at this time? I want to show you. I'm going to get some information to you. It's all very positive. I'm going to do this. So what's a good time for you? So that's the posture.
Perfect.
Okay. So
yeah, that's great.
That's great. All right. So you were going to add little hook in the invite you've got there, and you're going to dial up the posture in the last part on there. Great. Okay. So that's Ken done. You feel good about that?
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great invite. Nice and strong, nice and professional. Okay, let's talk about John.
John is a customer of mine. He's a small commercial customer. Just became a customer, but I'm also a customer of his. I'm selling some furniture, have sold and am selling some furniture and other decorating items through, he and his wife have 2 consignment stores, upscale consignment stores, one in Richardson, one in Fairview. Too much information. Anyway, his store in Fairview became a customer of mine a couple weeks ago, and right. And it was amazing. It was amazing how that all came down. We don't have time for that. So John is a customer. He is aware. He was delighted to know when I was in the store. I asked him, "Who do you have your energy with, John?" When I was in collecting a check from him for some furniture he sold, and he said, "Well, I have it with so and so. You don't do that, do you?" And I said, "Oh, I absolutely do." And went in and to his office, looked up rates, signed him up, saved him 10%, and he was delighted. He had it off his plate. He was already out of contract. So I then mentioned to him that, John, there's an opportunity here to make money. To save money, make money, or do both. And he expressed a little bit of interest, but he had pressures of work there, and he's got another business that he does as well. So that's who John is.
Do you know any pain of his at all? Obviously, he's a business owner, so he's super busy. Do you know how well he's doing?
My guess is that they're doing okay, but if I were a betting man, I would say that they're in the boat that most Americans are who are middle-aged and above, and that they're either low to no retirement.
Yeah. Okay. Kids, if they're what, like 50s, are they? 50s, 60s?
Yes. Very, very personable, very outward-facing people. We got on. They called to apologize, and we talked on the phone for 30 minutes. Can you imagine that?
This sounds great. So what are your thoughts so far as an approach to him is concerned?
Hey, this is what I have written down here. Hey, hello, John. This is Dana Heter. Hey, thanks again, John, for being my customer. Do you have a quick minute? If yes, perfect. I'm about to start a conference call, and I know you have a lot on your plate right now, so I'll be real brief. You may recall that when we met at your store in Richardson a couple weeks ago, I mentioned there is an incredible opportunity to save money, make money, or both with Ambit Energy. Given our short conversation and the interest that you expressed when we talked, I believe it's something that you should really have your eyes on. And then I was going to go into you. So what are you doing after work tomorrow or today or tomorrow? And I'd love to stop by the store. I was going to stop by one of his stores, stop by either of the stores and show you what I'm doing. Okay,
that's excellent. For me, there's two things missing in there. Okay, so you're in a hurry. That was awesome. I really love your professional beginning and your introduction to the call. I'm just about to get into a such and such. You do that really well. And you said, remember, we talked about there's an opportunity to make some incredible money. Avoid dead language and tacky language. What I mean by that is sometimes when one talks about making money and boy have I got a deal for you, it sounds slightly infomercially. That's a personal thing, so it's entirely, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying personally I don't like the incredible opportunity to make some money or to save some money. Reword that very slightly so it's a little less infomercially, just a little bit more matter of fact. And forgive me for being direct on that, but that's just that to me is I feel it in my guts. When I hear that, I think, oh, it's a bit, if you buy in the next 10 minutes, you get two, you double your order. It's a little
That's right.
Like that. And then there's a couple of things that I think that you could add into the invite. You can shorten it in other areas, but because you need to add in there to say that you talked about there being an opportunity to make some extra income, but I would then include your why and a hook because you didn't put your why in there because I would say some extra there's an opportunity to make some great money, and I've been doing this business now for X number of years, and it's going to replace a bunch of I lost my retirement because of a company in Waco going out of business, and this business is going to replace that for me and more, and it's doing really well for me, especially in the DFW area. There's your excitement. That's the bit that doesn't sound infomercially. That's talking about you and your why and the hook. And you know what? What was his name again? John.
John.
Yeah, John. You know what, John? It may be something that'll work for you as well. Listen, it may or may not work for you. I understand that, but it's really working for me. It's replaced my retirement income. I'm very excited about it. It's doing great for me at the moment. What are you doing on Friday after work? So you were nice and fast at the beginning, talking about got to be in a hurry. Then you said, remember we talked about, thank you so much for being my customer. Awesome. Remember we talked about there being another side to this opportunity where you can actually make money from this business. Well, John, I've been working this business because I've had to replace my retirement income because I had it saved with the companies down in Waco, and they're filing for bankruptcy. So I've got to replace my retirement income. But this thing is not only going to replace my retirement income, but it's probably going to double or even triple it. I'm really excited about it. And I'd love you to take a look at what I'm doing. Listen, it may or may not be your cup of tea. I understand that. But what are you doing on Friday? You can take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you. So we've kind of tidied everything up a little bit. We've added a little bit of excitement. I'm going to take the infomercially bit out of it and put in there the fact that what your why is, because then he'll be listening with his heart and not with his ears, right? And he's going to be thinking, oh, my God, you lost your retirement. He's not listening to it with his brain. He's listening to it with his heart. But it's working for you. It's working for you. You're excited about it. And so that's how I would do that invite. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Excellent. I really like that.
Cool. Okay, good. So reword that. By the way, those of you who are listening in, if you've got any questions, drop a text to Michelle Schaefer, the MC at the beginning of the call. Her number is 682-521-8255. 4570. Again, 682-521-4570. I'll try and squeeze the answers to those questions in as best I can, because I can see you're all out there sitting and listening in, but you may have questions and stuff. And if we can't get to the answer during the call, send it to Michelle anyway, and she'll send it to me, and I'll answer any questions you've got. All right. Okay, Dana, so that's Ken and John done. Let's move on to Lynn.
Lynn is an interesting one. Cold market acquaintance. Lynn is the CFO of a competitor. United Cooperative, which is a co-op in south of Fort Worth, goes out to Weatherford, 80,000 meters. And John is a 50-some-year-old, probably approaching 60, who's wanted to retire this year. But
you said John. Is this John or Lynn?
Lynn, I'm so sorry. Lynn wanted to retire this year, but the board at the co-op talked him into staying on another year and prepping his successor. So he and I had a long chat at a reception for a client of mine who was leaving that organization and going to another in San Antonio. And he told me a lot about himself and his work at the co-op, and I was intrigued and told him that I was partnering with another energy company, and he was intrigued, and I told him about who it was, and he, interestingly enough, he had never heard of Ambit Energy. And so I told him I would be back in touch with him, and he seemed fine with that.
Okay, did you hear anything?
He's on my list.
Is he retiring with a nice retirement package? Did you kind of get a feel for any pain there at all?
Well, he is working for a co-op, and I'm sure that they've taken care of him, but usually he's probably not had quite the retirement program that some C-level executives have had. But I'm sure that they've taken care of him. But he's also probably, given what I gathered about this gentleman when I met him, he's pretty conservative. He wants to hold on to what he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. Any idea of age? Where is his age, would you say?
Oh, I would say 58 to 62, somewhere in that. He's been with the company for for the co-op for 28 years.
All right. Well, let me tell you, I know that we have people from competitors on the corporate side who are Ambit consultants. They're not necessarily still working for their previous company, but they have worked for other people before. So that's certainly not a reason why anyone should not become an Ambit consultant. So, all right, well, based upon what you've told me, have you got any ideas about how you'd like to approach him?
Absolutely. Hello, Lynn. This is Dana Heter. You may not recall who I am, so let me jog your memory. You and I met and chatted for a while at Vincent Ferris's farewell party at the Vineyard. Do you have a quick minute? If yes, perfect. I'm about to start a conference call, and I bet your plate is full today, so I'll be real brief. When we were chatting that day, I told you about my consulting business working with nonprofit organizations like Meals on Wheels of Johnson and Ellis County, and you told me about what you do with United Cooperative. You may recall that I mentioned that I'm also partnering with another energy company based in Dallas. I'd love to show you what I'm working on. Do you have 10 minutes? And that was that's kind of the standard closing.
Got to lose the do you have?
Lose that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm losing that. I didn't interject my why in there because. Go ahead.
Here's my opinion on that is I think it feels a little bit more business-like to me. It feels just a feel. You know, he's a professional in the energy business. You're a professional in the energy business. So it felt a little bit more a little less, touchy-feely about the why, personally speaking. I would maybe try an opinion approach on this because he's been in the business for 28 years, like you said. He's retiring from the business. And I would get together with him for his opinion and his expert, or his expert opinion. So absolutely remind him who you were. That was awesome. Do you have a minute? Very respectful. That's awesome. I'm just about to go onto a conference call. That was great. But I've been meaning to give you a call. And Lynn is a guy's name, obviously, because I was thinking that was a woman when you said Lynn. Lynn, I've been meaning to give you a call because when we last spoke, we had some synergies in our business interests. So I'm upping the language a little bit, making it a little bit more business-like. We had synergy in our business exploits. As you know, I have a consulting business, but I also have an energy firm as well that is working very well for me. And I want to get together because this is relatively new to me, this energy operation, whereas you've been in the energy business for 28 years. I would really appreciate some time to sit with you to show you what I'm doing, because I would really appreciate your expert opinion with what I'm doing. So I'm not sure what's going to be a good time for you, but usually I free up around 5:30 in the evenings. We can meet for Starbucks over near such and such I'm already assuming he's going to do it. Again, I didn't go too much into my why because that felt a little less business-like for me. This was, as I say, to me, I want a business approach in this one. He's an energy guy. You're an energy guy. He's been in it a lot longer than you. You want an expert's opinion. And also, there could be a situation where he can make some introductions for you. So everything that you said, in a hurry, awesome. Know why, we're going for an opinion. Remember last time we spoke, we had some synergies in our business exploits. I would very much like to get together with you because I'd like you to see what I'm doing. I'd very much appreciate your professional opinion, but I also think that there's some introductions you could be making for me. What are you doing on Friday? I'd love to buy you a bite to eat, or I'd love to buy you a coffee so you can take a look at what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I really like the business side of it, and maybe there's some introductions you could make for me.
Yeah, he would respond to that. I think much better. And he is in Burleson, but hey,
it's worth it.
Oh my gosh!
We always talk about at the training. We talk about this is we can build a business by finding 3 consultants, help them that get qualified, and then help them find 3 consultants and find 3 and find 3. Gone are the days where we have to recruit loads of consultants like the product-based companies. We only need 3, so it's worthwhile spending the time to go and see someone as important as this. Even if he's not a builder, even if he's not interested in the business, he could be a very strong connector for you. And so
that's precisely what I had in mind.
Right, and that's exactly the way I go. So business approach for this guy, nice business language. Again, if for those of you who are listening, this is going to be recorded. So if you're looking for some of the language, you can go back to the recording and have a listen to how I was doing that invite. But that's how I would approach Lynn. All right, let's move on because I want to get one more invite in before we have to go. And we'll do more invites during the week, another added incentive for you chaps who are listening in to listen to the recordings of the accountability calls. We'll be doing some more invites as well. Let's talk about Tom real quick, Dana.
Tom is a partner with a law firm, Winstead PC, in downtown Dallas. He and I serve on the board of the Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse together. And we've gotten to know each other over the last 2+ years. I was discussing with him a few months ago about my diversifying my income stream in kind of in a side conversation in the before a board meeting started. And he said, "Really, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I've got a a venture I'm working on in the energy space. He goes, really? Yeah, what kind of energy? And I said, natural gas, solar, and electricity, and it's absolutely incredible. And he said, really? I would be interested in talking to you about that.
Okay, here's a nice, easy invite for you. This one's an easy one. So based on that, how would you invite this guy?
Tom, Dana, coffee, Friday.
Perfect. I mean, that's it. Truly, he's already said, I would be interested in talking to you about this. You did a great job of salting the oats. You didn't give too much away. I'm involved in, you kept the language elevated. You're talking to an attorney here, right? So keep the language elevated. You don't need to go into your why. You talked about being involved in an energy company in the natural gas, solar, and electricity space. That's awesome. That's great business-like language. I would do it. I'd say, Tom, listen, I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now. But last time we spoke, you expressed an interest in seeing what I'm doing in the energy business. What are you doing Friday for lunch? I mean, that's it. Straight to the point. Not do you have time for lunch, but what are you doing for lunch? What are you, after, in a nice intentional close. Go ahead.
I actually had the script written out, but I just decided to do the cut to the chase thing just to amuse you a little bit. But I did have something similar to what you said. Yeah.
Remember, I said to you that the rule 6 overrides the other 5 rules. Be yourself. You've already spoken to this guy. You've known him for 2 years in an organization. You can talk pretty frankly with him. He told you he's interested. Hey, Tom, listen, I'm in a little bit of a hurry now. I'm just about to get on a conference call. Last time we spoke, you expressed an interest to see what I'm doing with the energy business I was talking about. What are you doing for Friday? What are you doing for lunch on Friday? I mean, boom, straight in, done.
Yep.
That's what I would do. Cut the crap. Excuse my language, but let's get straight to the nitty-gritty. The most important thing is he looks at the business. Whether he joins or not, I don't give a crap if he joins or not. I give a crap if he looks at the business. If he joins, awesome. You've got a great ally and a great person to build the business. If he doesn't join, he may become a customer. He may be a connector for you. But the point is he had a look. That's a great opportunity with Tom right there, Dana. That's awesome.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, we're at 8:55, so I'm going to not do any more invites for tonight. We've already arranged a time to you're going to do the couple of calls tomorrow, a couple of invites tomorrow. We're going to do our accountability call sometime between 5 and 5:30. I will record that call and put it on the EC Riders Facebook page so you can have a listen and see how these invites went for those of you who are listening in on the call. And then we'll also, as I say, get a couple more invites for the other 6 people on your list. But that's great. Dana, this is a great call so far. We've got some really kind of high. Obviously, the reason why these are all good quality people is because you scored them using the Erica system, and they floated right to the top of your list. So we're going to get some of your good people right out of the way straight away. So that's fantastic.
I only regret that we couldn't have done the next one, but that's okay.
We'll be able to do it on the call tomorrow. Don't worry.
It's killer. It's a killer.
Okay. There you go. There is the perfect lead-in for you guys to listen to the accountability call tomorrow so we can hear about this killer invite. Dun, dun, dun. There's a promotion for listening to the accountability call tomorrow night. Dana, thank you so much for getting
You're welcome.
the call.
Thank you, Richard.
Did you have any questions before we go, or you feel good about everything so far?
No, I do. The only question I have is I'll text you. We said 5 to 5:30. I'll text you at 5 and see where you are, and then we'll firm it up now or give me 10, whatever. Okay?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it after the call because I want to get a couple of things right at the end of this call. Dana, thanks so much for getting on the call, and thank you for being my volunteer. You know I'm going to beat you up. I told you I'm going to beat you up for during the week, but I love you dearly, my friend. So I do it with love.
I told you I appreciated you victimizing me. All right, see you later.
All right, Dana, thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, so we're going to finish up the call right now, but here's the thing. Before you go, don't hang up yet because there's a couple of things I want to tell you guys about. For those of you in the DFW area, my team called EC Riders has a team dinner on Wednesday. It's open to everyone, and they are awesome. Last time we had Frank Schmaling there, who just turned up, and he was sitting next to a few people, and someone, and those few people got to spend an hour with Frank Schmaling just chatting about their business. MCs, brand new people in the business, RCs, SCs, and just sat and chatted with them. Now, I have no idea which of the leaders are going to come. I invite them all every time. But do come to the team dinner this Wednesday. It's at the Texas Land and Cattle. If you're short of money, you don't have to eat. But if you want to, the menu there is really, really good. Just come along and enjoy an hour or so with us. There's pretty much no training. We do talk a little bit about some stuff, but it's predominantly about the socializing, getting to know people. Those people who play together and work together can all win together, and it'll really help you also meet some other people for three-way calls. So definitely come to the EC Riders team dinner this Wednesday at the Texas Land and Cattle on Technology Boulevard West in Dallas. The details also will be on the EC Riders Facebook page, so you can get that all there. Also, we had our training yesterday was extremely successful. I had a lot of people saying that it's some of the best training that they've ever been to, and we have another training event coming up on November the 5th. We're putting quite a few training programs in because for those of you who are at Ambition will remember that there's a major announcement coming up at Simulcast, and I have no idea what it is. None of the leaders do, but from what I hear, they're saying basically it's going to be so big, you want your team to be as big as possible so you have an army behind you to build your business around whatever this promotion can be. I can make some guesses as to what it is, but I would worry about that. I don't want to put my foot in it. But at the same time, all I know is we're going to build the business anyway, so why not build it as big as we can between now and Simulcast? So we've got another training happening on November the 5th. Similar format to we had yesterday. We'll have different guests. The similar training format that we'll have. So for those of you who are brand new or are going to be bringing brand new MCs between now and November the 5th, get them to that training. If you want to know the details on it, go to www.ambitlive.com. ambitlive.com. We've got early bird pricing that finishes tonight. Wednesday night at midnight. Early bird pricing finishes $15. It will go to $20 and probably $25 or $30 on the door, so get your ticket nice and early. Guys, I want to get you on the national call. It's 9 o'clock. Bear will be talking. The special guest won't be on there just yet, so let me give you the number for the national call. It is 712-432-7570. For those of you who want to listen to the national call, listen to our number one income earner who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this business. Again, the number 712-432-7570. The PIN code to get on that call is 848-77-pound, 848-77-pound. That call's happening right now. I'm going to jump on that call myself. So team dinner on Wednesday, team training again on November the 5th. Details on EC Riders Facebook page. Get off this call, get onto the national call. Thanks, guys, for being on this call. It was a great call. Thank you, Dana, for being on the call. And I'll see you guys listening to the accountability calls during the week. All right, guys, have a great Sunday night. Thank you so much. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my tea. Soon. Thanks now. Bye-bye.